We're now about to go live in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now live.
89.5 WSKB.
Live from the campus of Westfield State University, this is 89.5 FM, WSKB, Westfield.
Support for the community programming of WSKB is provided by Bay State Dental. Comprehensive dentistry at 14 convenient locations in Springfield, Chicopee, Longmeadow, West Springfield, Belchertown, East Longmeadow, Ludlow, Northampton, Greenfield, and Wilbraham, as well as 29 Broad Street in Westfield. Bay State Dental makes it a priority to help you achieve and maintain the healthy smile you deserve. On the web at baystatedental.com.
Good morning, Westfield. It is 6:02. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM radio for the Westfield masses. It is Wednesday, November 27th, the day before Thanksgiving. My name is Tina Gorman. I'm your Wake Up Wednesday host. And I'm joined today. We are broadcasting live from Westfield Technical Academy, Studio 120, with Pete Coles. Good morning, Pete.
Good morning. I think we have to turn off the monitor. I hear the TV monitor out there.
Monitor?
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll turn the volume. Let me come out there. You
Okay.
talk.
All right. I will talk. Okay. So it is the day before Thanksgiving, and I think we're going to start off right out of the gate with a couple of famous birthdays. I think I'll sprinkle the birthdays throughout the broadcast this morning, but I do want to start out with a couple of famous birthdays. Yeah, I know. I can hear like an echo. Is that okay? There we go. That's better, Pete. Thank you. There's my tech guy. Yeah, I kept thinking, it feels like there's more than one Tina in the room. That would be a scary thought. Just ask my husband that. All right, famous birthdays. Today it is the birthday of the late Al Jackson, drummer, born November 27th, 1935 in Memphis, Tennessee. And he died at the young age of 39 on October 1st, 1975. So Albert J. Jackson Jr. was an American drummer, producer, and songwriter. He was a founding member of Booker T and the MGs, a group. Yeah,
love Booker T and the MGs.
So do I. And some people might not recognize that name, but you'll recognize the first song when we take our first break.
A lot
and
of instrumentals.
We play
They're
"Time
all
Is Tight." Yeah, right. Exactly. They're all instrumentals. But this was a group of session musicians who worked for Stax Records and produced their own instrumentals. Jackson was affectionately dubbed the human timekeeper for his drumming ability. He was shot to death during a home invasion, but there is speculation that there's more to the story, and the killer remains a mystery. They never found the person who did it. It was a very odd set of circumstances when I read all about his death. But anyway, happy birthday to the late Al Jackson Jr. drummer. And it is also the birthday today of the late Eddie Rabbitt, country singer, born November 27th, 1941 in Brooklyn, New York, which is interesting that we have country singer born in Brooklyn, New York. He passed away at the age of 56 in May of 1998. So Eddie Rabbitt's career began as a songwriter in the late 1960s, springboarding to a recording career after composing hits such as Kentucky Rain for Elvis Presley in 1970 and Pure Love for Ronnie Milsap in 1974. And it was in 1974 that Eddie Rabbitt began recording songs and started his own musical career. He went on to enjoy a steady succession of 26 number one country hits from 1976 to 1989.
That's crazy.
It is crazy. And, when I read Eddie Rabbitt, I'm like, yeah, okay, that's fine. He had a few hits, but nope. On the country Billboard, he had a lot more.
Yeah.
Hits included You Don't Love Me Anymore, Driving My Life Away, I Love a Rainy Night, and You and I, which was a duet he did with Crystal Gayle and successfully performed that one. A majority of these songs were substantial crossover hits to the Billboard pop radio charts. Eddie Rabbitt died of lung cancer at the age of 56. So happy birthday to both of those musicians, and we'll be playing a couple of their tunes this first hour. We'll come back to some more famous birthdays in a few minutes throughout the hour. My guest this morning, second hour, so Beth Cardillo will be joining us at 7 o'clock. Beth is the executive director of Arms Brook Village, but Beth and I are also on the Community Advisory Benefits Council for Bay State Noble Hospital. And Beth has done a lot of work sort of in one of the leadership roles in that group. So we're going to talk about that and what's happening with the hospital and the hospital/community partnership. And then, of course, there are always lots of things to talk about in terms of Arms Brook Village. And Beth always wants to talk about, dementia and related services and treatments and so forth. So,
I had a chance to chat with Beth at the Chamber of Commerce Awards dinner.
Oh, yes. How did that go? I didn't realize you attended that, Pete.
Yes, I was an invitee of the 350.
Nice. Oh, yes. Very nice. Very nice.
They were a nonprofit of the year.
Yep.
Whip City Fiber was Business of the Year, and Sister Elizabeth Alexak, was the Lifetime Achievement Award.
Yeah, I saw the pictures in the Westfield News. They did a really nice spread with those. And, of course, I always look at all the pictures to see who do I know that's in here and who attended. And
Yeah, we made the Mass
it's
Live
wonderful.
Seen It.
Oh, well, there you go. Like famous people on Mass Live.
I guess. I was told I clean up well.
Oh, well, you do clean up well. And speaking of I clean up well, Pete, a couple years ago, you and I volunteered at the Noble Ball.
That still hangs in my living room.
Oh, it's in your living room. Oh, okay. I thought
Yes.
it was going to be in your WSKB office.
No.
Oh, got
Right,
it.
sure.
Okay.
I have one of those.
Okay. Well, in your room here, in your studio.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. So that's in the living room. Did not know that. All
Yep,
right.
keep that at home, yeah.
We dressed up very well for that.
Yes, we did.
Yeah. So for our listeners who don't know, Pete and I, a couple years ago, volunteered at the Noble Ball. Gary was at a conference down in Florida, and I wanted to go to the ball, and Pete wanted to go to the ball, and so we volunteered.
I was going to volunteer anyways.
Yeah,
but
yes, I know you
You
were.
made me a guest, not only a volunteer, but a guest.
I
so
know, and we
that was
we
cool.
actually sat at Beth Cardillo's table, so
Yep.
that was a lot of fun. But I think was Fred Gore the photographer that took that picture. I
Yes.
don't remember.
Yeah, it was
And
Fred.
anyway, we had our picture taken professionally. Pete, you were in a tux that night, so you
I
were
was,
looking
yeah.
very dapper, and I had this really pretty gold dress on that I had purchased for the occasion. So yeah, we have this picture. So I had it framed. I gave it to Pete for Christmas that year.
That was a cool gift.
Yeah, so I know that was one of my fun kind of gifts because they're always, when it's from the heart and it's personal, it always makes it a little bit more fun.
My girlfriend's like, "Who's that?"
Yeah, who is
And then
that
she
woman?
met you, and she was like, "Oh,
There it
I
is. She's
get
okay.
it."
She's safe. She's not going to steal you away. She's
Right.
happily
I'm
married.
like, she's married.
Yeah, don't worry about it. She's married. So, Pete, this is our second broadcast together this week
Yes.
because I was on with the men folk on
When
Monday.
we debuted the big table there.
We did. So we're in a completely different. We have a different setup here. So for those of you who are watching on Channel 15, you might notice that we have the microphones are not hanging down anymore, so they're coming up so that you can see our faces better. We have a new table in order to accommodate those microphones, and I'm actually
It's not that ugly white table anymore.
no,
it's
and
dark.
I'm actually sitting in a different position, so I'm trying to get used to my new position. As you can see, I'm not doing all that well with it.
You'll get used to it.
Yeah, I know. I think I will, and hopefully it'll make it better. The only thing I have to really be careful of is not smashing my legs and my kneecap
Yeah,
on
I
these.
know that's short. The legs are short.
That's the only problem with sitting in this.
You get used
in
to it.
this
You might
spot.
use it as a footrest.
Well, I thought about that, and at the break, I have to get a chair that's a little higher. I'll have to raise the chair a little higher because right now the footrest. That's what I think I will do because I think that'll prevent me from bunking my knee.
Exactly.
So, but Pete, we were broadcasting live from Westfield Technical Academy from Tiger's Pride on Monday because we did the WSKB food drive with the acting mayor Figgy and Commander-in-Chief Figgy, Sue Figgy.
Some of the people who know her best are calling her Flo.
Flo?
First lady.
Oh, yes. Yes, exactly. First lady of Westfield. Yes, Flo. So, and we did, do we know what the final count was for, was it 234? Yeah, 234.
Yep.
Thanksgiving.
Plus, it doesn't count the
baskets.
two schools that did their own.
Yeah, right. So was it Southampton Road School? Superintendent
I think it
Zaporowski was saying there were two other schools that did their own food
Southampton
drives.
Road and Munger Hill, I think, were the two that did their own.
And they did their own. So
Yep.
he kind of felt like we were somewhere up around 300.
Yeah,
total,
probably
something
well
like
above
that.
250,
Yes.
for sure.
Oh, yeah, for sure. So thank you to all those who contributed food. We brought... it actually worked out really well this year because we brought almost all of our boxes, 99.9% of what we had collected, we brought over Friday afternoon, which we've never done that before.
And they got a lot of sorting done on Friday.
Yes, and I think
A
that
lot.
was because that's what's time consuming. Now, of course, I have to remind both Mr. and Mrs. Figgy, City Councilor
are
Figgy,
on their way to Ohio.
Yes, I know, but I wanted to let them know that much of the sorting from the senior center was done ahead of time because WA did a lot of sorting last week, so that I had not only all the cans together and all the dry goods, but like all the stuffing, all the cranberry sauce, all the peas, all the green beans,
So you can put it in that pile.
Yep. So I did a lot of pre-sorting for them, but
Well,
only
you've done
because
this a while, so
Yeah.
everybody kind of figures out what what they need to do.
Well, that's
so.
it. It's not your first rodeo, and you know what's helpful. And I actually didn't realize at the time that I started doing all the sorting that we were going to be bringing so much of it over on Friday. And so that I'm always feeling like on Monday morning you're scrambling around and they're trying to sort, they're trying to load the bags. So yep. So thank you to all who contributed, and we donated not only food, we donated a lot of personal hygiene items.
Which goes a long way.
It really, really does. We donated a ton of shampoos and deodorants and toothpaste and toothbrushes. We had a lot of those come in. So thank you to all those who contributed on behalf of those families who are receiving those items. And I have to say, it was a lot of fun. First of all, it was a lot of fun being on the radio with the men folk. And to
the
super flow, and not really having to do any of my own prep. It was just like I could show up and
just
chit
kind of
chat.
hang out,
just kind of hang out, chit chat, and what was really funny though, Pete, was because I jumped in the middle of a segment in between musical breaks.
Yeah.
I couldn't adjust my
headphones.
My headphones, and they were really loud. And I had Joe Langone sitting next to me, and Joe is loud anyway. He just has that deep voice. He's just got this, kind of deep raspy voice. And every time he opened up his mouth, I was like, oh my God, this is so loud. But I didn't want to mess around with trying to figure out which one to turn down.
Now everything is labeled. So if you look
I knew
on
that
the arms,
I know, and I knew that as soon as as soon as we took the break and I went to figure it out, and I said, oh, this is great. Everything's labeled. The mics are labeled. The headphone, everything's labeled. It was
Thank
easy
Kenny
enough
for
to
that.
do. Yeah. Oh,
That's
yes.
all Kenny.
Thank you, Kenny Stomsky.
Kenny's like, I'm going to do this my way, and you're going to like it.
Yeah.
I'm like, if you do it your way, I'm going to like it because
tell
you do
him
a good
that.
job.
Yeah, tell him that doing it his way. I love it, and I knew that right away. As soon as we took the break, and I went to just find mine and turn it down, I went, ooh, everything's labeled and it matches, and it was one little click of the thing. But I didn't want to be reaching over the table in the middle of the segment. So
sure.
that was a lot of fun. So we had Joe, and then we had Superintendent Zaporowski, and we had Chris Rogers, all from the school.
The only person missing out of the Superflow was Rob Olari, but he
Yeah.
got tied up with something. He was on a conference call or something. He couldn't get away. The conference call, they thought it was going to end in time, and it didn't.
Well,
So-
there were four of us chirping away, so that was fine. And although we missed Rob, it was, certainly we had plenty to chit-chat about.
So that's going to be their show. The last 2-hour segment is going to be their show this week as a repeat.
Okay.
I tried to convince Rob Goff to repeat his segment, and he didn't want to because he's got a country guest called Wildfire out of the Houston area, Houston, Texas.
Okay.
Somehow he stumbled across them on Facebook, started listening to their music, and he's not a country fan at all. And he just found their music to be really cool. It's like country pop.
There
so
it is.
we had them on via almost like a Skype thing from their living room with a webcam, and then they called in because the audio was kind of rough on the Skype part.
Okay.
And they talked. They did an hour interview, so it was kind of cool. So you'll see that Thursday morning at 7:00 in the 7:00 hour.
7:00. Okay.
Yep.
So tomorrow morning. Thanksgiving is tomorrow. So
Yes,
for those of you who, I know we keep talking about it as if it's like a few days away, but it's not.
I will spend the rest of my shift editing and getting stuff ready for Thursday and Friday.
It's
so.
that frantic last minute stuff. All right. Well, you know what? It is 6:15, so let's take our first break. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM radio for the Westfield Masses. So I absolutely love this piece. This is by Booker T and the MGs in honor of the birthday of drummer Al Jackson Jr. It's called Time is Tight, and you will recognize this tune.
Support for community radio on WSKB is provided by Betts Plumbing and Heating Supply Company, an independent, family-owned wholesaler serving Westfield for over 50 years, specializing in plumbing, heating, and industrial piping supplies. On the web at bettsplumbing.com or at 14 Coleman Avenue in Westfield.
Live from Studio 120 at Westfield Technical Academy, this is WCPC Channel 15 and 89.5 FM, WSKB Westfield.
Good morning, Westfield. It is 6:19. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM radio for the Westfield masses. It is Wednesday, November 27th. We are rounding out the month of November. Tomorrow is Thanksgiving. My name is Tina Gorman. I'm your Wake Up Wednesday host. And we are broadcasting live from Westfield Technical Academy, Studio 120. And behind the glass, behind the boards, is Pete Coles. Good morning again, Pete.
Good morning.
So later on, second hour, we have Beth Cardillo joining us as our guest. We're going to be talking about some partnerships that we are doing with Bay State Noble Hospital. Beth is very involved in the Community Benefits Advisory Council. I always have to do my acronym. It's CBAC, C-B-A-C. Everything's an acronym, you know.
Oh, okay.
Then I'm on another hospital advisory council, which is the CAC, which is the CAC. So we get the CBAC and the CAC. That's a Community
CBAC,
Advisory
okay,
Council,
okay.
right? And the other one is Community Benefits Advisory Council.
Okay.
Two different organizations or two different groups, but all working for the good of the hospital and the community partnership. So we'll talk more about that. You know what? I'm trying to think. You know what? Let's finish up with the birthdays, and we can, because we have a lot of announcements. Of course, we have tons of announcements because
It's the holidays.
It's the holidays. It's like, oh my goodness, December 7th. There are about 500,000 things happening in Westfield on December 7th, but we'll get to that. Let's finish our birthdays. So today, November 27th, in the year 1957, Caroline Kennedy Schlossberg was born. She is an attorney and author. She was born in Manhattan. She's 62 years old today. She was born the same year I was, 6 months younger than I am. Caroline Bouvier Kennedy is an American author, attorney, and diplomat who served as the United States ambassador to Japan from 2013 to 2017. She is a prominent member of the Kennedy family and the only surviving child of President John F. Kennedy and First Lady Jacqueline Bouvier Kennedy.
That's true.
She is known for being the most private member of the famous Kennedy family. Interested in politics, but not the limelight, Caroline quietly entered Columbia Law School. She graduated with little fanfare in 1988. That same year, she gave birth to her first child, Rose. In 1989, the young lawyer stayed busy by establishing the Profile and Courage Awards, which honors elected officials who have shown political courage. She also began research on her first book. The title was In Our Defense, The Bill of Rights in Action, which she co-wrote with fellow law graduate Ellen Alderman. Caroline Kennedy serves as a member of the National Board of Directors for the NAACP Legal Defense and Educational Fund, Vice Chair for the Fund for Public Schools in New York City, and Chief Executive for the New York City Department of Education Office of Strategic Partnerships. So happy 62nd birthday to Caroline Kennedy Schlossberg. And Caroline, if you so desire, you can begin collecting Social Security benefits this year.
I don't think she needs it.
I don't think she does either. All right. It is also the birthday of saxophonist Dave Winthrop. He was born November 27th, 1948 in Camden, New Jersey. He's 71 years old. Dave Winthrop, although he was born in New Jersey, moved to England when he was only 8 years old, and he joined the group Supertramp in 1970. The band's work is marked by the individual songwriting of founders Roger Hodgson and Rick Davies and the prominent use of the Wurlitzer electric piano and the saxophone. Though their early style was progressive rock, they enjoyed greater commercial success when they incorporated more radio-friendly pop elements into their work in the mid-1970s, going on to sell more than 60 million albums. Hits included The Logical Song and Take the Long Way Home. So, of course, we'll listen to a Supertramp song a little bit later. And finally, it is the birthday. Oh, Pete was waiting for this, of the late Jimi Hendrix.
One of the best licks of all time.
It is the birthday of the late Jimi Hendrix, rock guitarist, singer, songwriter, born November 27th, 1942 in Seattle, Washington. He died September 18th, 1970 at the age of 27. Because of a troubled childhood, music became a sanctuary for Jimi Hendrix. He was a fan of blues and rock and roll, and with his father's encouragement, taught himself to play guitar. He served in the United States Army, and after leaving the military in 1962, Hendrix began working under the name Jimmy James as a session musician, playing backup for such performers as Little Richard, B.B. King, Sam Cooke, and the Isley Brothers.
I didn't realize that part of it.
I did not either. He moved to London in 1966, and while performing in England, Jimi Hendrix built up quite a following among the country's rock royalty, with the Beatles, the Rolling Stones, The Who, and Eric Clapton all becoming great admirers of his work. One of his most memorable performances was at Woodstock in 1969, where he performed the Star-Spangled Banner. Mm-hmm. Hendrix died in 1970 from drug-related complications, leaving his mark on the world of rock music and remaining popular to this day. Happy birthday to the late Jimi Hendrix.
Yeah, I had to play that riff, man. It was like, that's just...
You did.
It's iconic.
I figured you would probably go out, at the 8 o'clock hour with some kind of a Jimi Hendrix something.
I may still do that.
Yeah. See, there you go. All right, and that's it for all the birthdays that we're going to talk about this morning. Of course, there are lots of people that were born on November 27th, but November 27th is National Jukebox Day, and which is always the day before Thanksgiving, which I love because Thanksgiving is always on a Thursday. That means National Jukebox Day is always on a Wednesday, which always falls on my radio show, so it means I get to play some cool jukebox music, which I love. So on the day before gathering around the turkey, gather around the nearest jukebox to celebrate National Jukebox Day. As Americans flock to their hometowns for Thanksgiving, many will head out to neighborhood bars and restaurants to catch up with friends and family and celebrate by playing great songs on their local jukebox. The name jukebox is thought to originate from places called juke houses or juke joints, which were establishments in the early 1900s where people congregated to drink and listen to music. In 1989, the first coin-operated player was invented in San Francisco by Lewis Glass and his partner William S. Arnold, both managers of the Pacific Phonograph Company. Formerly known as the nickel in the slot machine, the player included a coin operation feature on an Edison phonograph and played a limited selection of songs without any amplification. Throughout history, the jukebox continued to evolve with the times. When recording artists were first crooning into microphones and cutting records into vinyl, an aspiring inventor in a Chicago music store worked nights to build a box that would play both sides of the record. When the Bluegrass Boys played the Grand Ole Opry to sold-out audiences, guys and gals would dance the night away by playing their song over and over again on the jukebox at a local pub. With the advancement of technology, today's jukebox is now more versatile than ever before, with touchscreen interfaces that respond to the swipe of a finger or can even be controlled by a mobile app.
That's what I do.
Right? And a vast virtual library of songs, including back catalog jukebox heroes alongside top artists of today. Throughout each era, from big band and jazz, country and blues, to rock and roll, acoustic, electric, and everything in between, the jukebox has played it all. So happy National Jukebox Day, which is the day before Thanksgiving.
Got Jukebox Hero playing. That was playing in the background.
There it is.
Do you remember that song?
I do, but I don't remember when that came out. When did that come out?
Foreigner, that was
how long ago was that?
Early 80s, probably.
I was going to say, okay,
80s,
I was going to say like late 70s Foreigner. Okay, so early 80s. All right, good enough. Okay, you know what? I think we'll go ahead and take a break, Pete, before I start doing all these announcements and we talk about all of that stuff. Because it is 6:29. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM radio for the Westfield masses. So we're going to play an Eddie Rabbitt tune. This is Driving My Life Away by Eddie Rabbitt because today is his birthday, even though it's the late Eddie Rabbitt. He passed away. But let's listen to Driving My Life Away.
Support for the community programming of WSKB is provided by the Dunkin' Donut Shops of Westfield and the Sardinia family. It's nice to know that even as the world changes, Dunkin' Coffee remains the same at 7 convenient locations throughout Westfield.
It's Tuesday morning from 6 till 8. Wow, it's Tuesday with Bob Plass.
Community Radio.
89.5 WSKB.
Live from Studio 120 at Westfield Technical Academy, this is WCPC Channel 15 and 89.5 FM, WSKB Westfield.
Good morning, Westfield. It is 7:30. I wish it were 7:30. It is 6:32. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM radio for the Westfield Masses.
This day can't go fast enough.
I know.
Honestly.
I'm daydreaming over here. I was listening to the music and I was thinking, driving my life away. I think today is one of the busiest travel days of the year. It's that Wednesday before Thanksgiving and the Sunday after Thanksgiving. So I thought, yeah, that Driving My Life Away song is kind of twofold.
Janine was talking about
Birthday of Eddie Rabbit and,
don't travel the day before a holiday. Or the Sunday after a holiday.
Right. I was listening to Bob's show yesterday, and of course you had, what was her name? Janine? Queenan, travel agent. And but traveling, as we will be, Gary and my sister-in-law Donna and I will be traveling.
You're going to New Jersey, right?
Yep. Tomorrow on Thanksgiving Day. And actually our experience is that typically Thanksgiving Day is not a crazy driving day,
people
especially on the
there.
interstate. Yeah, people are there. Yeah, exactly. People are there. So, yes, because we will be doing Thanksgiving meal delivery tomorrow. So we're going to be delivering, I think we're up to we're over 100. I think about 106 was our last count. We were doing confirmation calls yesterday, and while we were doing our confirmation calls, like we had somebody over at General Shepherd Apartments who said, we called to just confirm that, because sometimes people get last minute invitations and then especially the people who get home delivered meals, they kind of forget, well, who am I supposed to tell that I don't need a meal?
Yeah, I need it, but.
Right. But you know what was interesting, Pete? I think this is the first year that we had nobody who said, I don't need the meal. When we called last minute, like I had Mary Kohut, my clerk, calling yesterday. So everybody who had signed up for one said, yes, I'm going to be here. And then we had somebody who said, yes, I need the meal because I share it with my person, this person across the hall.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, and we said, no, we'll add another meal. They
it's
said,
not a big deal.
Yeah,
it's not
exactly.
You know what? People, elderly people think they're imposing on people.
Oh my gosh! And we said, no, we'll add another meal. We know the person across the hall. I'm like, well, who lives across the hall? And it's like, of course.
And they didn't want to ask.
They didn't want to ask. They didn't want to ask. And I said, that's crazy. So
that's part of what Zap found around here with the families is that they just didn't want to ask. They felt bad about it.
Yeah. Exactly. But you know what? That's what we're all here for, to help each other out. So, so that's that. Okay. So, first of all, this Saturday is the last Saturday of the month, which means that the next month's issue of the Voice of Experience newsletter, which is the newsletter of the Senior Center, the Council on Aging, will come out as an insert into the Westfield News. So it'll be out on Saturday. And then on Monday, it will be at the Senior Center. And by Monday afternoon,
it will be everywhere.
Barbara Coleman and Donna Schaefer will have delivered it to half of Westfield. It's all over the place. You can get it at the Athenaeum and all the senior housing. We get it over to the pharmacists, all the doctors' offices, physical therapy offices, all those places that our seniors frequent.
Sure.
So, and of course, it will be online. It'll be on the city website. If you just go into departments and click on Council on Aging, and as soon as you get that, there's an icon for the newsletter and a nice little picture that Kevin Berrien put up there. Just click on the picture and you'll get the latest edition.
There you go.
But here's a preview of what's in that edition. So I pretty much, I think this time around, just kind of copied the front page for you. So these are the headlines. So first of all, we are probably right now. I'll start here because we just set everything up yesterday, and this was absolutely hysterical. So we're doing a senior center holiday silent auction, which, by the way, I was texting you yesterday, Pete, because
I know. Sometimes I get texting here, sometimes I don't.
That's okay. But the correct phrase is not Chinese raffle anymore. It's silent auction, which makes sense because that's really what it is. So here's how it works.
I think Kenny took umbrage with that one because he said it doesn't quite fit because you're not bidding. You're just putting in tickets.
Well, but it's an auction in the way I get it. But
Yeah,
I
I
think
know.
using
Kenny's
it kind
just
of
being
in
Kenny.
just using it in the sort of loose sense.
Yeah, I know. Kenny's
so
being Kenny.
the way it works at the senior center is we have 11 items that are displayed in our fireside lounge. If you go in the fireside lounge and you look up above the bookshelves, you can see all these really fun holiday items.
It's like
and
the old Wheel of Fortune.
Yeah, it really is cool. Yeah, you should come over and see it. So each of the items has a number, 1 through 11. And then we have, right in front of the greeter's desk, we have a table with cans, and the cans are numbered 1 through 11.
Sure.
And on the can is a little description of what the item is, so you don't have to keep running back and forth.
Yep.
And you can get your tickets at the greeter's desk. They're $1 a piece or 6 for $5. And you just put your ticket in whatever cans of whatever items you would like to win. And we will be doing the drawing on December 12th at our Jingle Bell Brunch. However, you do not have to be present to win, because on your ticket, you're going to just put your name and a phone number.
There you go.
So if you win, even if you're not, because the Jingle Bell Brunch tickets sold out in like 2 hours. So if you didn't get a ticket and you're not going to be there, that's fine. We will call you if you win a prize. So that's how our Senior Center Holiday Silent Auction works. So come on down, because we have a lot of there's some really nice things in there.
Cool.
We also we're planning a very merry holiday concert, and that will be on Wednesday, December 18th from 2 to 3 p.m. Our own Do Re Mi singers will be doing a holiday concert for us, and this is free. The public is welcome. Just come on down and enjoy. And at that time, some of the kiddos will be out of school, so grandparents, if you do a little babysitting or whatever, that's fine. You can bring your grandchildren, because there will be songs that they all recognize and can sing along to as well. So that will be Wednesday, December 18th from 2 to 3 p.m. And this year we started a tradition probably about 7 or 8 years ago of doing a Christmas Eve open house gathering, and it's usually sort of a coffee hour in the morning, and it has grown over the years. Initially, it was just kind of for those people who didn't have any place to go on Christmas Eve,
right.
Just kind of a way to gather with your friends. But it's now actually become an event in and of itself. So we've decided to kind of beef it up and get some entertainment. So we have Marion Dunk, our own Marion Dunk, and Chip Arnold from Marion is from Westfield.
Better
Chip
known
is
as
from
the Keepers.
The Keepers, and they will be performing. It'll go from 8:30 to 10 a.m. So it'll be coffee and fruit and muffins and Danish and tea and all those kinds of good things, and some entertainment. And we are sending out invitations to our police, fire, and first responders who have to work on Christmas Eve. So we would love for them to stop by and have a cup of coffee with us for however long. If they can only drop by for 10 or 15 minutes, that's great. If they can stay a little longer, that's great. And we are also inviting everyone to come, and if you have not seen, and especially our police, fire, and first responders and our veterans, to come and see your respective Christmas trees.
Right.
So we now have all 3 of the Christmas trees set up. Marianne Krause and Barbara Wojcik did the police tree yesterday. They did the fire tree on Friday. So the fire tree's upstairs when you walk in the front door of the senior center, if you look up. And it was really, really cool, Pete, because Ben Warren, who was one of the deputy fire chiefs, stopped by the senior center on Wednesday, I think, on Monday, he needed to get some, we discovered that we had a senior with no smoke detectors.
Oh, okay.
And so he stopped by to pick up a couple, and he sent one of the trucks out to get those installed. But it was funny because he came upstairs with me, because I have the smoke detectors up in the storage room upstairs, and we went right by the fire tree. So I said to him, Ben, have you ever seen the tree that is in honor of the Westfield Fire Department? He said, no. So not only that, that tree has the names of all the firefighters.
Yep.
Ben found his name in about 5 seconds. It is right in the front of the tree. And now that was totally not scripted, because I didn't even know where it was.
Sure.
He said, oh, the names of the firefighters are on here, on all the badges. And I said, yeah, yours is in there somewhere. And it was like unbelievable. He goes, it's right here. It's right in the front and the center. So anyway, but we would love for anyone, and they don't have to wait until Christmas Eve to come by and see your tree. They are absolutely beautiful.
Sure.
So police tree went up yesterday, and that one is in the Fireside Lounge, not too far from Officer Carbonneau's senior safety office. We sort of did that on purpose. And then, of course, the veterans tree is up on the stage.
Yeah.
And the other thing that is now up on the stage, Pete, which I think there will be an article coming out in the Westfield News. They're actually going to do a story on this, but there is a setup that we put in the corner, and it's through the Veterans Association. It's a POWMIA kind of a setup. It's a reminder, and it's a table and a chair. And there are all these symbols on the table, sort of just remembering those who we're not sure where they are.
Exactly.
In some cases, it's really moving. And there's an explanation of what each of the items on the table symbolizes. So please, by all means, stop by and see that. You have to take a little bit of time to kind of read. It's very moving. It's really moving. And that will actually be... that will be set up there permanently. Julie Barnes had asked me if we could find a spot in the senior center, and I said, I know the perfect spot. It's in the corner up on the stage, right next to the
left-hand corner, right?
Yep, right next to the American flag.
Yep.
It's really moving. So please come by and see that. And again, we are, there's no signups for the Christmas Eve open house. Just come. There's no charge. There's no signups. Just come and enjoy. And then the other thing that I wanted to announce, senior center wise, is inclement weather closings. We haven't had any of those yet. But just remember, I know, except that I got to get this information out there.
I know, the superintendent's dreading the first time he's got to call it, too.
So, again, if the Westfield schools are closed because of bad weather, the senior center is closed to the public. The staff will most likely be there unless it's blizzard conditions, but it is closed to the seniors. If the schools have a delayed opening, the senior center opens at 11 o'clock. That's
no matter
standard.
how long the school delay is.
It doesn't matter how long the school delay is, Pete. The senior center will open at 11, and that gives DPW time to get all the school parking lots done and then come down and do the senior one. It still gives us time to have lunch. If there's a delayed opening, we have lunch that day, and any programs that start at 11 o'clock or later, we will have. Any programs before that will either be canceled or postponed, and we will let you know about that. So, and we do the announcements for closings and delays on the 3 TV stations as well as on WSKB. We announce it. We put it on Channel 15 and we put it on the city website. So there, and we put it on the front door, but we don't want you to come down and find it on the front door.
We don't want you to get that far because that's the reason we're closed.
Exactly. And whenever,
delayed.
Whenever there's a question or in doubt, call the senior center. If nobody answers, don't come, because it means we're not there because the weather's terrible and the staff couldn't get in. So, and if we do answer, we'll tell you whether
what's going on.
We'll tell you whether we're open and closed. So, those are all my senior center announcements for this go round. So, it is 6:44. I think we're going to take our quarter-hour break.
Okay.
6:44. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM radio for the Westfield masses, and this song is in honor of the birthday of Dave Winthrop, who's saxophone player for the group Supertramp, and this is the logical song. I just love this song.
When I was young, it seemed that life was so wonderful, a miracle. Oh, it was beautiful, magical, and all the birds in the trees, they be singing so happily, oh joyfully, oh playfully, watching me.
Underwriting for Community Radio on WSKB is brought to you in part by Rockies. Over 30 convenient locations throughout Massachusetts, Rhode Island, New Hampshire, Connecticut, and Florida. One of the nation's largest ACE dealers. Expertise and great product selection in paint, hardware, lawn and garden. That's Rockies. Rock solid service since 1926. On the web at rockies.com.
It's Tuesday morning from 6 till 8. Wow, it's Tuesday with Bob Plass.
Community Radio.
89.5 WSKB.
Live from Studio 120 at Westfield Technical Academy, this is WCPC Channel 15 and 89.5 FM, WSKB Westfield.
Good morning, Westfield. It is 6:50. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM radio for the Westfield masses. It is Wednesday, November 27th, the day before Thanksgiving. My name is Tina Gorman. I'm your Wake Up Wednesday host, and we are broadcasting live from Westfield Technical Academy.
Yes, we're actually here.
Studio 120. We are here.
The
we
students
are
aren't.
live. Yeah, you know what, Pete? It's so funny because I meant to ask you that at the last break. I'm thinking usually by now, cars are coming. So do they have the whole day off?
Yes, they have the whole day off.
I did not realize that.
The custodians are here, but they have the day off.
Okay, because I'm thinking to myself, wow, it's awfully quiet here for
You don't see anybody
for
coming
6:50 in the morning. Usually by now, Chef Mooch is around,
Right,
and
yep.
Matt Seklecki. We got the graphic arts people going, and
Yep, they're all off
okay,
today.
quiet. How nice. Good for them.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so we have some announcements because, as I said, my second hour, my guest Beth Cardillo will be joining us. So
She's in the bullpen.
She is in the bullpen. We have a lot of announcements to do before that. So first of all, I mentioned this on air on Monday. I am on a mission to collect band instruments for Principal Chris Tulpa over at Franklin School. This is a school that, they have some needs over there. Let's just put it that way, right, Pete? Is that a good way to put it?
Yeah.
We
It's
were
an
talking,
urban school, really.
It is. It's an urban school. We were talking with Superintendent Zaporowski and Joe Langone, and band instruments are very expensive. Joe was saying.
Right.
Remember, Joe was saying when he was a kid. Now he's 52 because he mentioned that on air, so I can say that.
Yep.
And he said when he was about 10, and he said he wanted to play the trombone.
Yep.
And his parents said, okay, but you're going to play this for the rest of your life because it cost $400. And I was thinking,
Right.
wow, that was a lot of money back then.
Handmade brass instrument.
Yes. So Chris is looking for gently used band instruments.
Still serviceable.
Still serviceable, but she's looking for things like trombone, trumpet, flute, clarinet, oboe, all those kinds of instruments that you see in a band.
Well, because that's the biggest impediment to starting a band for a school.
Is the cost.
Is the cost.
Is the cost of the instruments. So we already had, and I mentioned this on air on Monday, so I want to shout out to Joe Mitchell, who already, because I cornered him before I even left that meeting where I was talking to Chris about this, and I was just mentioning it to Joe, and Joe said, you know what? I've got a trumpet. They're welcome to have it. It's in my closet. I don't play I haven't played the trumpet in years.
Right.
So that's what we're looking for. If you have band instruments from your kids, from your grandkids, from yourself, and they're in a case somewhere in the back of a closet or up in the attic or whatever, get them out, dust them off, and bring them to the senior center. I will make sure that Chris gets them. But she was so ecstatic when she found out she had a trumpet. So I have the seniors downsizing in place, and I know that they have some of these things. So please, 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 let's put them to good use. I'm such a firm believer in that. To me, it's like if you have a book and you enjoyed it and you loved it, don't let it sit on your shelf. Donate it. Donate it to the local library book sale or donate it to the senior center or whatever. Same thing. Coats, they're starting to do the drive, the Coats for Kids drive.
Sure.
If you've got extra winter coats and jackets, we live in New England, folks. We have people who can't afford those things. So don't have it taken up room in your closet. Donate it somewhere so somebody else can use it. So we're doing the same thing with band instruments. We're recycling them.
There you go.
All right, so we have that going. So I know Bob Plass talked a lot. WOW has a bunch of stuff going on. They've got their annual tree jubilee, which is over at the Renova building.
Ongoing. I think it's already started.
It is ongoing. So the dates for that it's 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. November 29th. Oh, no, it opens November 29th, Pete, so it'll be Saturday.
Oh, they were decorating. I was
Yes,
those, yeah.
they did. They decorated last week because I know Marion, our own Christmas tree ladies, we refer to Marion Krause and Barbara Wojcik as the Christmas tree ladies. They did a tree for that.
Yeah, sure. Yep.
So, so that opens Saturday, November 29th from 11 to 4, and that's at 105 Elm Street in the Renova building. Just look for the beautiful window with all the trees.
Yeah.
And then it continues November 30th, December 1st, December 7th, and December 8th from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m., and they'll have their silent auction, their raffle, and the drawing will be on December 8th. So that's the Tree Jubilee. Bob had also mentioned the Lantern Light Workshop, which is December 7th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the Westfield Middle School.
Yep.
It's a free family event. We
I
have...
know Bob was working his magic. Elsa might appear at that. From
Who?
Frozen.
Okay then.
I don't know if you saw Kenny's show yesterday.
I did not. Holiday Home Tour is December 8th, which is a Sunday from 12 to 4 p.m., starting at WOW headquarters. Again, that's 105 Elm Street. Tickets can be purchased there the day of the event. The tour features private homes decorated for the holidays as well as the Dewey House. Do we know, did Bob mention, Pete, how many homes are in the home tour? Is it usually
it's like
5, 6,
yeah,
something
between
like that?
5 and 8,
Yeah.
something like that.
Okay. All right. So that's, yeah. You know, when I was a kid, I still do this. This is really awful, but especially in the winter when it's dark out, and I love to, especially around the holidays, drive by and look in people's windows if they have like things lit up inside and they have their curtains open so you can kind of see their tree and their decorations.
Yep.
And I always think, oh, that house looks beautiful. I wonder what it looks like on the inside. Well, see, when you do the holiday home tour, you get to go on the inside and you can see how beautiful things are. So we have all that going on. Our Heaven's Angels group at the Senior Center will be meeting on December 3rd. What's Monday? December 2nd, right? December 2nd.
Yeah.
It's this Monday. Yeah, December 2nd. And they meet from 1 to 4:30 at the Senior Center, and they reconstruct wedding gowns, and they make baby gowns for babies that don't make it home from the hospital, babies who pass away, either stillborn or...
I'm glad that program took off.
It's just an awesome program.
Yeah.
The women that, and this is the beauty of this program, Pete. You do not, I have some people who say, oh, I really, really want to do that, but I don't sew. You don't have to sew.
They'll figure out
You
something.
can be, we need people to deconstruct the wedding gowns, to take apart the wedding gowns. You have to take the beads off, and you have, all you need is a stitch ripper. Then we have people that trace the patterns. We have people that cut out the patterns.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to sew to do any of those things. And then we have the people who sew, and then we have the people who do the ironing. So sewing is just like one piece of it, but there are a lot of
one step
other
in the construction process.
Exactly. And you don't have to sign up in advance. Just come to the Senior Center. It will be working on the Heaven's Angels group will be there on Monday. We graduated after 2 sessions, Pete. We graduated from the multi-purpose room to the great room because we had so many people and we just needed so
I remember you
so
saying
much
that
space.
you thought it was going to grow.
Oh my gosh, it really has. We set up tables all over the
Yep.
place and ironing boards and sewing machines, and it's an awesome program. Okay, Westfield Technical Academy will have their annual Arts and Crafts Fair this Sunday.
Right outside the door.
Right outside the door.
If you look in the hallway,
Sunday,
did you notice?
December 1st.
Did you notice all the markers on the floor?
Yes. What was that for?
Those are for everybody's tables. Those are their booths.
Oh,
They laid out the entire school.
Oh my gosh! And they have 100. This is unbelievable. 150 plus vendors.
Yeah, it goes all the way-
150. It goes like the entire first floor of the school.
Upper campus,
right?
I think. It goes all over the place.
Oh, does it go upstairs as well?
Well, maybe it doesn't. I know it goes all the way down the lower campus.
Yeah.
It goes in the the room where they have lunch, and then it
Yes.
goes all through the hallways here and all the way down to manufacturing, so it's everywhere.
And here's one of the best things: the WTA culinary students will be providing lunch for a nominal fee.
I know.
I can tell you right now, it's going to be delicious. It doesn't
Sandwiches,
even.
yeah.
I don't even know what they're going to have. It doesn't matter because the food is just amazing. So that's this Sunday. So
Mm-hmm.
stop by, and I'm trying to see what the hours are. Hold on. Oh, 9 a.m. to 3 p.m.
Yes.
All right. Free parking right here at Westfield Technical Academy, which is 33 Smith Avenue, for those of you who aren't sure where we are. And then I mentioned before, December 7th, there are about 100 things going on in Westfield on December 7th. So you have absolutely no excuse for being bored. So one of the things that's happening, and actually it will run December 6th, 7th, 13, and 14, is Charles Dickens' A Christmas Carol. It's Westfield Theater Group's 20th anniversary presentation. So Kathy Palmer and company Reservations, you can call 413-572-6838. I'm looking for prices. Adults, $18. Students, seniors, and military, our vets, $15. Star seating is $23. So I guess star seating is like
right up front,
and center.
Yep.
And that's a Christmas Carol. And all performances are at 7:30, but on December 14th, which is a Sunday, is it, or a Saturday? I'm not sure.
Probably Saturday.
They have both a 7:30 p.m., but they also have a matinee at 2 p.m. So, again, that phone number, 572
14th is a Saturday.
Thank you. 572-6838. So it's so four days of performances, December 6 and 7, Friday and Saturday, and 13 and 14. All right, we got another Christmas craft fair that will also be happening on Saturday, December 7th from 9 to 5, and Sunday, December 8th from 8 to 12, and that is St. Peter and St. Casimir Church Parish Center. So all kinds of unique items, bake sale, luncheon. Oh, lunch with us. Enjoy some ethnic specialties, Pete.
Mm-hmm.
Enjoy homemade galumpki soup, sandwiches, sauerkraut, galumpki. There are some things in here that I can't even pronounce. And delicious desserts and more. So that's St. Peter, St. Casimir. But also, Saturday, December 7th is Pearl Harbor Day. So there is a ceremony over at, I can never say this, Kane Wojciechowicz
Yeah,
Park.
I think that's close.
It's by the Great Bridges.
Yeah, it's on the south side.
It's on the south side of the Great Bridges, on the Westfield side of the Great Bridges.
Yep.
10:30 a.m. To observe the December 7th, 1941 Japanese Navy attack on Pearl Harbor, Hawaii, 78 years ago, which resulted in the United States entry into World War II. So again, for our veterans and families and those who want to observe Pearl Harbor Day, Saturday, December 7th at 10:30 a.m. But, you know, most of the things that are going on, Pete, on that Saturday, with the exception, of course, of the play, it's kind of, it's open-ended. So, so you could do everything if you wanted to. You could hit all these craft fairs. You could do the Pearl Harbor observance. You could go to the show at night. So lots of things. And then there's another one here, the Community Carol Festival, the New England Brass Quartet, the Senior Choir of First Church, Young Singers of Greater Westfield. This is on Saturday, December 7th at 4 p.m. You can squeeze this one in there, too. First Congregational Church, which is 18 Broad Street in Westfield. The admission is free. Donations are encouraged. So that's at 4 o'clock. And that sounds... the New England Brass Quartet. I love brass. I think that sounds really kind of fun.
Yeah, sure.
And I have to throw this one out there. I'll make this announcement a couple more times, but the Holiday Craft Fair at the Arbors this year will take place on December 14th from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m., and that's at 40 Court Street. So if you missed the one and you're busy on the 7th, or you didn't get to the one here at Westfield Technical Academy, or you want to get to every craft fair there is in Westfield, here's another one. And I know that when we get Beth Cardillo here, Arms Brook Village has theirs, I believe, on the same day, on that Saturday the 14th. So lots of opportunities for lots of really fun, unique kinds of items. So that's kind of fun. And my last plug before we do our top of the hour break is I'm still plugging for the Salvation Army. They're still looking for bell ringers for...
Your kettle drive.
The kettle drive for the Westfield area. Thanks, Pete. So if you would like to donate, even if it's just a couple of hours, the phone number is 562-2910. So for all of you people who want to donate their time and want to do something that's really worthwhile, I can tell you that we certainly at the Senior Center, the Council on Aging, we rely on the Salvation Army for some of our most challenging cases where literally people have no oil in their oil tank, so their house is, no gas. I mean, those are the kinds of cases that we call the Salvation Army and request their assistance with. And it's the kettle drive that helps to fund all that.
Sure, yeah.
So anybody who can donate some time, I would really encourage you to do that. So please help out. Again, that number is 562-2910. It is 7:03. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM, radio for the Westfield masses. When we come back, we have Beth Cardillo from Arms Brook Village joining us, and so we'll listen to a little
The programming of WSKB is provided by Westfield Bank. For more than 160 years, Westfield Bank has been an important community presence and commercial leader in the Pioneer Valley. with convenient full banking services in Westfield, West Springfield, East Longmeadow, Agawam, Feeding Hills, Springfield, Southwick, as well as Enfield and Granby, Connecticut. Visit us on the web at westfieldbank.org.
It's Tuesday morning from 6 till 8. Wow, it's Tuesday with Bob Plass.
Community Radio.
89.5 WSKB.
Live from Studio 120 at Westfield Technical Academy, this is WCPC Channel 15 and 89.5 FM WSKB Westfield.
Good morning, Westfield. It is 7:06. You know what? My microphone is all messed up. So hold on, Pete.
What do you mean? Oh, your headphones are messed up.
Yeah, my headphone. Yeah.
Your levels are all screwy.
Yeah, my levels are messy. So okay, I had mine right, and then we were playing with them to try to find Beth's.
Yeah.
Okay. So my name is Tina Gorman. I'm your Wake Up Wednesday host. It is Wednesday, November 27th, 7:08 a.m. My guest this morning is Beth Cardillo. Good morning, Beth.
Oops.
Yeah, Beth is the.
Hold on. There we go.
Yeah.
All right, that's
Is her
better.
mic
Sorry.
on?
Yes.
Okay, there you go. Beth is the executive director at Arms Brook Village and was just informing me that she's temporarily a resident there. Is that the way this is working?
It is. It's pretty funny, actually. I'm not only the executive director, I also live at Arms Brook Village. So at home, we're getting a bathroom, the only bathroom we have in the house, remodeled to accommodate my husband with accessibility. So while they are putting in a new toilet and a accessible shower, instead of staying at a hotel that is accessible, because often when they say they are, they're not really.
Right.
We had an apartment at Arms Brook Village that was furnished as a respite. I am paying full price as a respite, and my husband and I are there for a few days.
Well, there you go. So how does it feel to be a resident in
It's
your own
kind
facility?
of funny.
Is it interesting?
It is very interesting. We had a resident council meeting yesterday, and I wasn't sure if I should sit in the audience or sit in the
Right. How do I participate
So I
here?
kind of did a little bit of both. It has been a really interesting experience. I have to say I've slept great, so beds are very comfortable. I've gotten to eat my meals there with
Good
the
to
residents, so it's been kind of fun. I think the residents kind of gotten a chuckle over it, but more important, my husband got great care, so it was great. I'd recommend Arms Brook Village to anyone.
Well, there you go. I think we
I'm
laugh.
not just the president. I'm also a client.
That's
Right,
exactly right.
And we laugh about it, but I think that we should all do things like that. You really do learn a lot when you see things from a completely different perspective.
Absolutely.
So Beth, let me, I'm just going to dovetail on something that you said, because you mentioned the word respite, that you're staying in the respite apartment. So let's talk about
what
that.
is respite?
What is the respite apartment?
So a respite apartment, so often Arms Brook Village is full and there is no room at the inn, but every once in a while we have a few openings, and before a permanent resident moves in, we'll take those apartments that are available, and we have a plethora of furniture that is stored. We will furnish an apartment beautifully appointed, and offer that for a couple of different reasons. One is somebody's mom is living with the family and the family's going away, and mom can't stay alone. So she can come and stay with us for a week or two, even one night.
Okay.
Or somebody's getting out of rehab and it's not quite perfectly set up in their home yet, so they need a temporary stay for a little while.
Okay.
Or somebody wants to try us out.
Yeah.
They are moving in, but not quite 100% sure. They're nervous about it. Can we do a trial stay? Mm-hmm. And the other reason is families give us a call, daughters, and say, I'm coming up to visit mom. Instead of staying at a hotel, can I stay at your place?
Okay.
So for many reasons, people try respite. I'd say about 95% of the time, a respite usually converts to a move-in.
Yeah. So
Permanent.
they try it, they like it,
Yeah, it's a great way to kind of get your feet wet, you know?
Yeah. Well, I can tell you right now, I've been to Arms Brook a number of times. I don't need the respite. I'm ready to move in whenever you have something available. So why don't we start there, because and I know that we have a lot to talk about, but we have plenty of time this time. We've got almost a whole hour to talk about the work that you're doing with Bay State Noble Hospital. But let's talk about Arms Brook a little bit, since we kind of started on the respite piece, and tell us, for those who aren't sure what it is. They know that you have older adults up there. Is it assisted living? Is it independent? What do we got going there? So why don't you
Okay.
give us sort of the overview, Beth?
So we have 122 apartments at Arms Brook Village, and we have actually at this point now, 4 different kind of modes of living. We have independent living, and that's for the couple or the widow or whomever that says, I don't need any assistance. I don't need my big house anymore. I don't need a house that has the main bathroom upstairs and the washer and dryer in the basement. I don't need the big house because my kids have moved out. I don't want to pay someone to shovel. I don't want to rake. I don't want to fix the leaky roof. I want an easier life. So for those folks, they move to Arms Brook Village in independent living. They have beautiful apartments with washer and dryer, full kitchen, but they get to take part in activities at Arms Brook Village like anybody else. They just don't get any assistance with home care.
Okay.
So they get transportation to doctor's appointments. So many people, they may still be driving, but don't want to drive in the winter.
Yep.
They get a continental breakfast every day and lunch or dinner. So you can throw away most of the pots and pans.
Yeah.
And for lunch, make yourself a sandwich and you're set for breakfast and dinner. And we have so many activities all day long. It's the cruise ship that never leaves port, though occasionally we leave port. Exercise classes in the morning, yoga, painting classes, entertainment, lectures, guest speakers, all sorts of things going on.
And some of those people that are living in the independent living apartments, Beth, they still drive. They still have their cars if
Some
they
are
want
still
to.
working.
Right? I was going to say, and that was my next question. Are any still
some
working?
are still working.
Sure.
It is, and some people travel. What a great way to live at Arms Brook, and you can leave and go travel, go to Florida, go wherever you want. And your apartment's taken care of. You don't have to worry about holding your mail. You don't have to worry about all sorts of things when we go away. You can just walk out.
I feel like this is something that, because people keep asking me, when am I going to retire? And my answer is usually probably never. I just love working.
Me too.
But
I'm right there with you.
Yeah, but you know what? We could live at I could live at Arms Brook and then just work,
you
so
could
that I don't have to worry about my meals and everything.
Exactly. So
great.
My husband actually said the food here is really good.
Oh, sure.
He's really been loving it.
Yeah,
so
you're renovating the bathroom. He's ready to put your house on the market.
Exactly. So he's, in the apartment and the computer. He's not someone that's going to join a million activities, but he's fine. He's doing great.
But the thing about Arms Brook is you don't have to.
No, there's no.
You can do whatever you want to do, right? I mean,
right.
Nobody's knocking on your door saying you have to come to this party.
Wayne's a retired librarian. He's a quiet guy.
Yep.
He's very happy. He's in his apartment on the computer. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner. He said, "Oh my God, the food here is fantastic."
It is phenomenal.
So I don't think he's ever eaten so well. So shame on me, but good for Arms Brook.
There you go.
And we don't have to do the dishes afterwards. I don't have to shop. I don't have to plan.
Yeah, really nice. Okay,
It's
so
a
we
nice
have
deal.
that's
So that's
one,
independent.
So independent living. Okay, what else do we have?
All right. So assisted living is for folks that need a little assistance, but in Massachusetts, assisted living is really based on a residential model. And so assisted living is not the same in all 50 states.
Right.
Some states, it's more based on a medical model where they can do more medical interventions.
Yeah.
And in Massachusetts, not so. So it's really for folks that, what do we look at? People's health and safety, well-being, right? So we can't do any skilled nursing. I can't give an injection. We don't have a doctor 24 hours. We don't have a doctor. We do have a doctor that does house calls, but she's not a part of our team.
Right.
But that is available for people. So people get help with showering, dressing, medication. And, I always look at, I call it the M&Ms, the reasons why people, as we get older, end up in the hospital. And one of them is meals. If you're living alone, you're in your middle 80s, for example, cooking, for one, is not so exciting.
Meals are, we did a program, Beth, over the summer on malnutrition in older adults. And it isn't so much that they're not eating, but it's kind of a grab and go. So it might be, a bowl of cereal for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. It might be a piece of fruit. It might be some cheese and cracker. It's kind of whatever. Because as you say,
or they're not eating well, or they're
Right.
eating a lot of frozen foods because it's a heck of a lot easier to take a Stouffer's lasagna,
Right.
and the ingredients in that are not all that great for us.
right.
So, and we have a lot of people that end up with dehydration.
Oh, and that was my other big focus
They're
this
not
year.
drinking enough fluids,
Or they're not drinking the right fluid.
or they're not drinking right fluids. And dehydration, you could have popsicles, you could have all sorts of other things. It doesn't have to be water.
Exactly.
Right?
Yep. Exactly.
So meals, big deal. Why people end up in the hospital as we get older. The other is mobility, right? People fall. Falls are probably the number one reason why people end up in nursing homes.
Yep.
And they're accumulative. So you have one fall, then another fall, and they keep kind of piling up on each other, and it has a negative effect on your body
Yep.
and your abilities. So, you say to people, how did mom fall? Well, she was on the stepladder and she's 90 years old. Probably not a great thing to do.
Exactly.
It's hard to tell someone that, though.
Yes.
So, living at Arms Brook, we have, and I can't stop somebody from falling. It's going to happen. But what can you put in place that's a little bit kind of preventative, right? Or a little
absolutely.
proactive as opposed to reactive. So we have handrails throughout the whole building. We really say to people, please take that Oriental rug and do not put it in your apartment.
Exactly. On top of the rug that's already in
scatter
there.
rugs.
Right.
It's just a trip hazard waiting to happen. Use your walker, use your cane, use whatever it is that you're supposed to use. And we have physical therapists in the building all the time. Somebody's in rehab because they're coming back from a hospital stay. They can evaluate people and say, you know what, your gait is a little bit unsteady. Because we want to prevent falls as best as we can. So they'll come in and they may prescribe somebody who's a walker, or maybe a couple of weeks of physical therapy.
Yeah, and you know what? That's so important, Beth, to do that actually in the environment that the person lives in.
Absolutely.
Because, it's one thing to get rehab in a hospital setting or on an outpatient basis, but, the hospital is set up very differently.
That's
You've got beds that go up and down,
Right,
and you've
right.
got trays that are, everything's on wheels, but when you go home, you
That's
don't
right.
have all
So
of those
you want it
things.
you want them to be walking around your apartment with you.
Right.
I was in somebody's apartment the other day, and there was two pieces of tape on the floor. And I said, so tell me about this. And she said, that's where I'm supposed to put my walker, exactly there, so that when I get up, it's perfectly situated for me as soon as I stand.
There you go.
And the physical therapist was in there. So I thought, wow, that was great.
It was great. And that's because that's exactly
right.
the benefit of sort of a home
So, right.
program.
And being in your apartment, even an occupational therapist will come in. The microwave is too high.
Yes.
The reach is too high. Maybe you want to put this over there.
Yep.
All of that, right?
Yep.
Our showers all have grab bars. They're handheld faucets, and will help you take showers, so
Yep.
you don't have to worry about a fall. Or maybe our nurse's aide will be standing in the bathroom, not in the shower with you, but there
just
for
right
you.
there, because sometimes it's just that reassurance
Right.
of there's somebody here. If I need help, I can.
Or if I start to feel wobbly,
right, I can just
Right.
say, "Hey, come in,
right.
help
And
me
we
help."
do have shower seats, so so we covered meals, we covered mobility. The other one is mental health, and we look at depression.
Yep.
And we look at, wow, you've been living alone. You're not driving at night. You're not driving a whole lot in the daytime. Many of your friends have passed. So how are you doing? How is your mental health? You get lonely. You feel isolated.
Yep.
So another reason to move in, because, and people are so resistant to leave their home, and once they do, my God, why didn't I do this sooner?
Listen,
This
my
is
mother
great.
was. I can remember arguing with my parents. My dad had Alzheimer's, but this was earlier in the. We knew what was going
Right.
on, so it was earlier. And so I flew out as the representative of 4 kids. So I fly out to Cincinnati to have the discussion with my parents that they need to decide who they want to. 4 kids. Come closer to one of us, because right now you're out here in the middle of nowhere on your own. So and I'm having this conversation, and I'm trying to, be very diplomatic about the whole thing. And, my father's throwing things out. Well, no, we have to stay here because, the church is right across the street. And I know, Dad, and you and Mom, that's a big thing for you. But there are other communities with other churches that we can, connect you with. And then, but our bank is here, and, our doctor. We went through everything. And when we finally got to, we can't move because the post office is here, that's when I finally threw up my hands and said,
I was one, like in every town.
I said, and the rest of us are still using Pony Express. But I kind of went, I remember flying back to Massachusetts, sending an email to my brothers and saying, you know what, we're just going to have to wait for the crisis, which of course happened.
Sure.
Because people don't want to, they're so resistant to change. And then, so you know what happened? So we moved them down to Tennessee, ultimately, to a townhouse that my brother had purchased, all on one floor, 5 rooms, 4.5 really. My parents are there. My mother was there for 2 months. I went down to visit, and the first thing she said to me was, "Oh my God, we absolutely love it here. Why didn't we do this 5 years ago?"
Why didn't you kids talk me into this?
I wanted to but you know what? That's usually what happens, because all of her fears about why she didn't want to give up the house, one of her fears was that my father would be following her around, because he always but what she found, and she said, but, in a 4-room or a 5-room place or a 3-room place, he's going to be right there. But you know what? The reality, what happened, Beth, and you'll appreciate this as somebody who kind of specializes in dementia. When they moved to the townhouse, my father had a rocking chair right in the living room, which was in the middle of, he could see and hear everything in the bedroom, which was right across the way. They had a glassed-in porch, became another room. So that's where the computer room was. So that was all open. The kitchen was open. He didn't have to follow my mother around, because by sitting in the chair,
bird's eye view,
always kind of knew where she was. She was either doing the laundry or in the kitchen. She was cooking, making the bed, but he was within earshot. So he didn't have that
he wasn't
need
on her coattails every
to follow
second.
her.
Sure.
He would just keep himself busy. Sometimes he would watch TV, or he would just listen to music. And my mother said, so that was her biggest fear, was that he would just be followed, because that's what he did in the house.
Yep.
And she would kind of be trying to escape just for 15 minutes.
Let me read a book. Let me sit on the couch. Sure.
She didn't have to do that. So there it is. All right, we're going to take a short break because of course I'm about 8 minutes past my break time. But when we come back, so we've covered 2 things. We've covered independent living and assisted living, but we want to talk more about the other services offered. It is 7:23. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM radio for the Westfield Masses. So this song is in honor of National Jukebox Day. This is Run Around Sue by Dion.
Here's my story. It's sad but true. It's about a girl that I once knew. She took my love, then ran around with every single guy in town. Hey, hey, whoa. Keep away from a runaround Sue, yeah. My little lips and a smile on her face, the touch of her hand and this girl's warm embrace. So if you don't want to cry like I do, I'll keep away from a runaround Sue. Whoa. Out with other guys, here's the moral and the story from the guy who knows. I fell in love and my love still grows. Ask any fool that she ever knew to say, I keep away from a runaround Sue. I play that yeah, keep away from this girl. I know what she'll do.
Support for the community programming of WSKB is provided by the Dunkin' Donut Shops of Westfield and the Sardinia family. It's nice to know that even as the world changes, Dunkin' Coffee remains the same at 7 convenient locations throughout Westfield.
It's Tuesday morning from 6 till 8. Wow, it's Tuesday with Bob Plass.
Community Radio.
89.5 WSKB.
Live from Studio 120 at Westfield Technical Academy, this is WCPC Channel 15 and 89.5 FM, WSKB Westfield.
Good morning, Westfield. It is 7:27. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM radio for the Westfield masses. My name is Tina Gorman. I'm your Wake Up Wednesday host, and my guest this hour is Beth Cardillo, the executive director of Arms Brook Village. So welcome back, Beth.
Thank you.
So we're talking about we're talking about Arms Brook. We've talked about some of the options, the living options that people have. So independent living and assisted living. But I know there's another option.
There's actually two other options.
Oh,
and
two
I just
others.
wanted to say one other thing.
Sure.
The other reason we're talking about why people end up in the hospital,
Yes.
and the other is medication.
Well, you said the M's, and I'm thinking
So
about
there
the
was
first one
4
in my
M's.
head was medication. Yes,
There was mobility, meals, mental health,
And medication.
And medication.
Yeah.
And you know what happens with medication.
Yeah.
People miss medications. People double dose on medications. People forget to order their medications. And when you're a little bit older, medications play an important part.
And I think
in
the other
your
thing
health.
about medications, of course, we could do a whole show just on
Right.
medications, but I think the other thing is that sometimes people don't, they're on multiple medications, so we've got interactions going
Sure.
on, but also that people don't know what the side effects are of maybe a new medication, or when the doctor kind of mentioned it, they weren't
Right.
listening, or the doctor didn't mention it. And so sometimes they end up with problems from side effects of the medication, but they don't
Absolutely.
realize it's a side
Or
effect.
then you're a fall risk.
Exactly.
So all of those things contribute. So we do medication management. Not able to do it in independent living, but we can do it in assisted living. We will take the medications. They'll be locked up in the person's residence
Apartment,
apartment.
right?
And it's something we can take off their plate. So it's
Absolutely.
2:00, Mrs. Smith. Let me give you your
And I can't tell you
medication.
how, from a family standpoint, that is what I hear that from children all the time, Beth. It's like I have friends that literally are driving back and forth to mom and dad's house in order to dispense medications at the appropriate times.
And you know, there are all sorts of things out there. There's machines that will dispense medication and this and that, but it can dispense it, but you still have to get it to your mouth. So
there's nothing like having somebody right there helping you out.
So the medication piece. And I wanted to say, you know, we talked about independent living, we talked about assisted living. And if you live in independent living and maybe you just need a little bit of help, but not enough to make a move to assisted living, you also have the freedom of hiring a home health agency and have somebody come in once, twice a week to help with showers or to fill your medication pill box and stay where you are.
Yeah, so I think people don't realize that. I think that's a good point, Beth, because I think some people feel like, well, if I move into Arms Brook or any other of these, then I kind of give away all my control.
Right.
And I think it's just the opposite. I think you really get a lot of control.
That's a great point, and I say that a lot. I think that people almost gain more independent. Give us what's been difficult, and we'll take that piece over. But now you've got the freedom to do a whole lot of other things, and that's
Absolutely.
great. And to have everything in one building is awesome.
Yep, absolutely.
Nothing better than a snowy morning to have everybody cozy in the building
Absolutely.
and not having to worry about driving, getting someplace. Icy steps, all
absolutely.
gone. So
Absolutely.
life is easy.
And the other thing too is that if for those people who are listening to this description but have never visited Arms Brook, you can people can certainly
Absolutely.
call, make
Give
an
us a
appointment,
call,
go
walk
out there and
in.
see. You have to see it to believe it.
551 North Road, 568-0000. I always say it's by the old Purple Onion, which is now 7B's right up the street from there. Everybody remembers the Purple Onion.
Everybody knows.
Nobody
the Purple
wants to
Onion.
admit ever being there, but
they
we're
all-
right up
right,
the street.
exactly.
It's right where the New Cumberland Farms is, right up the street on North
Exactly.
Road. And it's a lovely setting.
It is.
So you can see deer and you can see turkeys and you may see a black bear occasionally saunter out of the woods.
All that wildlife.
Yeah.
And I will tell you, when I remember the first time I ever took the tour there, and when we walked into the movie theater, That was what sold me. I was just like, oh my gosh, they even have this little movie theater. This
Yep.
how great is this?
Really comfortable chairs.
Oh,
We-
they are awesome.
We don't
chairs.
supply the popcorn because
No, but
we don't
it's,
want to clean the machine, so you
no,
can bring your own. We have movies every single night at 7:00, and we use Netflix. It makes it very easy. So we do a little of everything, some John Wayne, Clint Eastwood, some Meryl Streep, Dustin Hoffman,
I'm
new
telling you.
movies, old movies. So
Sign me
that's-
up.
That's kind of fun. That's nice on a rainy Sunday day.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So we have another kind of level of care, and it's a new one. We also have memory care, which I'll get to in a moment. But at some point, probably about 4 years ago, I noticed, and other folks did, that we had a bunch of people that were living there that weren't actively involved in our enriched programs.
Okay.
I kind of see them walking around the building, and I'd be in the elevator, they'd be in the elevator, I'd be walking up the stairs, they'd be walking up the stairs. I'm like, why aren't they going to these great programs that we have? And then we kind of realized that some of these folks, because we have independent living, we have people that are very, cognitively intact,
Sure.
right? That
Yep.
are aging gracefully. And there was a portion of folks that were having a hard time keeping up with what was going on.
Okay.
They weren't able to process the information as fast. They were getting a little bit lost. It was getting a little bit muddled for them. So they'd walk into an activity and they'd sit for a few minutes and maybe kind of weren't getting it.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
confusing
Yeah.
for them.
Yep.
We were going at a faster pace than they could keep up with.
Right.
So he said, what are we going to do? I've got people here that should be blossoming, and I felt like they were wilting.
It's one of those things where you feel like everybody else is reading chapter 3, but I'm still back on chapter
Yeah.
1, so I feel like I'm always trying to play catch up.
Exactly.
Yeah, I get that.
And it's hard on the brain.
Yeah.
And it doesn't make you feel good because
Right.
why can't I get it? So we said we've got some folks that really don't believe in memory care, but they need a little bit more than what we're giving them. So we started a program called Connected Life. Mm-hmm. And so people still live in their assisted living apartment. They still get all the care that they were getting before. But we started kind of a day program. It runs, actually, it's more than a day program. It's 7 days a week from 10 in the morning till actually 8 o'clock at night. Mm-hmm. And
Is it one of those things that started as a day program?
It
but just
started
kind of
5 days. It
blossomed?
started 5 days a
yeah.
week, and then families were saying it is a great program, but what happens on the weekends?
Yeah.
So we hired an occupational therapy assistant who is phenomenal, Susan O'Donnell, and she's hired phenomenal staff. And so right now I've got 15 ladies. For some reason, it's all women, and I can't add any guys to it because it won't work. It's just gonna.
Yeah.
It just the
Muck
way
it
the
up.
dynamics are. So it's 15 women, and that changes. New people come
Sure.
in, and they have a purpose, and that's what it's all about in life, right? Having a purpose in life. So some of these folks were not getting up till 11 o'clock every morning because they were depressed.
Yeah.
They didn't belong. This program does so much, enriched activities all day long, built just for them. It's fail-free. It's giving them a purpose, and it's giving them a group of camaraderie.
Yes. Yep.
And they do baking, and they do cooking, and they go out in the community. It's almost like all the other enriched programs we have for everybody else, but it's tailor-made to them.
Right. Just a little bit more
It's a little
staff
bit more
involvement.
cognitively at their level. They do great things. Actually, we have a program with White Oak School, which is next door to us.
Yeah.
They come over, the little kids come over, and they read to us, and we read to them. So the program is chock full, just tons of stuff all day long.
Yeah.
And it's
Perfect.
beautiful. So that has met a need. The testimonials that we've gotten from families have been absolutely extraordinarily amazing. They've seen such a change in their family member.
I'm so impressed.
So, and I think we're like one of the only places around that does this. We actually got a call from a woman who runs a program. She's a nurse in down south. Actually, she is in Tennessee.
Okay.
And she called us and asked if she could fly up here and take a look at our program.
How great. And
She
you
was
know,
doing research. She said, I looked far and wide all over the internet. The only thing I came up was a little article about Connected Life in Westfield, Massachusetts
Wow.
at Arms Brook Village. So she flew up, she stayed for the day, and got the
amazing.
tools she needed, and was hoping to replicate a program down south.
You know, imitation, the greatest form of flattery,
Right.
Beth.
Right. So
That is
anyway, and so
amazing.
that's one thing about us at Armbrook. If something's not working, we say, okay, what do we need to do? It's not like, well, that's the way it is. That's the way it's always been.
Nothing we can do about that.
Right. So we are absolutely change agents. We're doers. We look at issues and really face it head on and kind of think thoughtfully about what to do. So anyway,
Beth, that is what I love about you. You're always thinking outside of the box. It's like, how can we get, here's our end goal. How do we get there? And it may not be the traditional way that we
Right.
think we should
Right.
be able to get there.
So then the question is, what are we going to do with a bunch of guys that we have that are in the same situation?
Mm-hmm.
So I met a gentleman who retired retired young in his late 50s, early mid 50s. And he was a friend of a friend. And she said, can you talk to him and let him know about what's out there in human services? He wants to volunteer and give back. And because my background is in human services, I met with Mark during breakfast at Little George's one day. And I was just giving him names of places to call. Then all of a sudden, this light bulb,
Yeah.
it just
Hello?
didn't go off. It hit me on the head like a ton of bricks. And I go, wait a minute. How would you like to do something really innovative and help us start a program for the guys?
Mm-hmm.
So I said, they don't want 5 days a week. They don't want 7 days a week. They don't want all day. They just
Right.
want a few hours, a
Yep.
couple times a week.
Yep.
And he said, oh my God, this sounds absolutely awesome.
Yeah.
So he's been with us over a year, and we've got about anywhere from 8 to 15 guys that come in, usually about 8 or 10. And he's done great things with them. He took them to the Harley Davidson place in
Yep.
Southampton.
Yep, Southampton, yeah.
He took them to the Armory in Springfield.
Yeah.
Kind of guy things.
Yeah.
He did a pizza and beer wings party for them. We got a ride on my friend's pontoon on Lake Congamon with all the guys. So
Nice.
just having a ball.
Yep.
Again, it's a way to keep it connected and work. He is moving on to be doing other things. This was kind of a temporary thing for him. So if anybody's listening, here's my little pitch, and you think you'd like to volunteer and work with a bunch of guys ranging from 50s to 90s, and they are the most awesome group of guys, because it really won't work with a woman doing it.
Yes.
I need a guy.
Yeah, I agree.
So if
I agree.
anybody's interested, come call us. Any retired people out there, you're looking for something to do 6-7 hours a week, give us a buzz.
And this, Beth, that traditionally a lot of our senior activities and programs are more geared toward women. And I have on my board of directors, Carrie Ann Cabas is on my board, and Carrie is retired. She ran the senior center in Granby, Connecticut. She was on our building committee because she's a Westfield resident, and she's now on our board of directors. But she also is part of the NISC team, which is the National Institute of Senior Centers, and they have a certification program, and she's on the review team. So she has been to senior centers all over the country, and when they go for certification, there are standards that have to be met. And she said, classically, traditionally, she said the number one thing that they're always putting is you have to try to get more women involved in your senior center, because she said the numbers sometimes are
More
less.
women or men?
More men.
right? Yeah.
More men. I'm
Yep.
sorry. And she said traditionally the numbers sometimes are way less than 5%, sometimes less than 1%. We at the senior center are almost at 50-50.
Oh, that's
Which is amazing. That just like blew her away. But I think that part of that is exactly what you're doing as well, which is we do the same thing. You have to have, well, for one thing, we put in pool tables. And so that became, the pool tables, the card tables. I mean, I have a whole group that are upstairs all the time from the time we open up, and then I throw them out at 4:30 to say, okay, last hand, let's go. Everybody's out the door, right? Last call. They are always the last ones out of the building. But I think when you pay attention to that, and last year a year and a half ago, it's almost 2 years now, we started an exercise class just for men. It's called Male Call, MALE Call. And again, because I couldn't get the men to participate in exercise classes, the fitness classes, because they were all women.
Sure.
When I gave them their own, 2 weeks later, the women came to me, well, can we join this class? I said, absolutely not. I said,
Isn't
no,
that
because if
funny?
you step in there, all the men are going to leave.
We're back to where we started.
We're back to where we started. I said, no, you've got all these other options there. And when we started the mail call class, it was once a week. And after a month, they came to us and said, that's not enough. We're not going to get a good benefit. We need to do this at least twice a week. So now we're at twice a week. And I'm waiting for them to, and it was the pool guys who also came to me and said, we need a third pool table. We had 2, now we have 3. But I think when you do that and what you're doing, that's where you get it, like where you understand that there are some different needs there.
Absolutely. So talk about thinking out of the box, Tina Gorman. You're right there.
There you go. That's why we are such a team. All right, we're going to take a break. We'll talk briefly about your memory unit, and then I want to spend some time talking about your involvement with Bay State Noble Hospital. So this is going to be a short song. This is Blue Moon by the Marcells for National Jukebox Day.
You saw me standing alone without a dream in my heart, without a love of my own. You knew just what I was there for. You heard me say my prayer for someone I really care for. And then the suddenly beautiful before me, the only one whose arms would ever hold. I heard somebody whisper me adored. And when I looked, the moon had turned to gold. Now I'm no longer alone, without a dream in my heart, without a love of my own.
Blue Moon. Support for community radio on WSKB provided by Westfield Electroplating. Employing over 140 skilled platers, painters, and technicians, Westfield Electroplating was founded in 1946 and was the first company in the country to achieve National Aerospace and Defense Contractor Program accreditation, proudly maintaining that status for over a decade. Westfield Electroplating provides over 50 quality finishes to meet your corrosion, cosmetic, or performance needs. On the web at www.westfieldplating.com or 413-568-3716. Westfield Electroplating, putting the finishing touches on technology.
It's Tuesday morning from 6 till 8. Wow, it's Tuesday with Bob Plass.
Community Radio.
89.5 WSKB.
Live from Studio 120 at Westfield Technical Academy, this is WCPC Channel 15 and 89.5 FM, WSKB Westfield.
Good morning, Westfield. It is 7:45. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM radio for the Westfield masses. My name is Tina Gorman. I'm your Wake Up Wednesday host. And I'm joined this morning by Beth Cardillo, who's the Executive Director of Arms Brook Village. Welcome again, Beth.
Thank you.
So we've covered a lot of different programming. The one thing that we haven't talked about yet in terms of Arms Brook is the memory unit. So why don't you just give us a sort of the overview, kind of the Cliff Notes version of what that's all about.
So first of all, I want to say everyone gets so scared when they think of, oh my God, it's a locked unit. But let's talk about why that is. So we have 25 kind of suites in a separate part of not a separate part of the building, but it's a locked part of the building.
Yeah.
It's kind of a mini version of the rest of the building, really.
Right.
But the reason why it is we call it a secure neighborhood is because once you get for some people, not everybody that has dementia. And I'm using the word, people always say Alzheimer's. I'm using dementia as kind of the
It's a
all
catch-all.
encompassing, right? For some people, they could have a tendency, because of the way the dementia has affected their brain, to kind of get lost easy, wander, and end up not in a safe place.
Right.
So people can walk out the door and start walking back to their childhood home, which could be in Maine.
Yeah.
So we want to keep people safe.
Yep.
So that's really what memory care is. It's why people are in a secure neighborhood is because it's not that they're doing that on purpose. It's part of what happens in the brain, and it's what we call exit seeking. And they want to easy to get lost, easy to wander off, easy to turn around and not know where you are.
And the thing about that from their standpoint is it's very anxiety producing, because when they wander off and get lost and then can't see anything that's familiar to them, that can really produce a lot of anxiety.
Absolutely. And the other things that happen in the brain is that your judgment is skewed.
Sure.
So going outside in the middle of winter not wearing a jacket, so it's not even a matter always of getting lost and taking the wrong turn. It's that my brain is telling me that I want to go outside. It's not telling me to put a jacket on. I'm not understanding the environmental cues.
Right.
It's cold. It's January.
Or it's hot.
It's
July.
Right.
And it's 95 in the
and
shade.
I want to go outside. So we need to keep people safe.
Absolutely.
But that doesn't mean because people have issues with their memory and there are things going on in their brain that they still shouldn't have a purpose in life.
Absolutely.
So it's taking that piece out of the equation. So we'll take care of that safety piece and make sure that you don't make a bad decision, that you don't walk outside, that you don't start searching for your childhood home. So other than that, what happens in memory care is an array of activities all day long, not different than our other activities.
Right.
There's painting classes, there's exercise classes every day, there's yoga classes, there's entertainment. And just because you're in memory care doesn't mean that you're there 24/7. You're not.
Right.
So
Right.
we go to other parts of the building and do things. We get in the van. We go searching for, in the summertime, they do a let's find the best ice cream stand.
Oh, there you go.
Right? I'm
There
there.
you go.
So they get in the van and we'll go 1 week to one ice cream stand and then another one, they'll rate them. That's kind of a fun activity.
Yeah. And they go and do things with their families. I mean, right? They can go for
Absolutely.
Thanksgiving dinner
Absolutely. So people say, can they leave the building? They can, but not unattended.
Right,
So families
exactly.
come, take them.
Sure.
Absolutely. And so they'll be going to bright nights, and we often invite families to come with us.
Yeah.
Do a lot of social activities. We have a program, Lifetime Achievement. Actually, we do that throughout the building. But I think it's more meaningful, or the most meaningful, in our memory care neighborhood. One of the residents, we find out all about their past lives, what they've done, and some really interesting things. Their families come, they'll write something up. We'll have pictures, a whole table display of pictures when they were young, pictures of them in college, pictures of them on their wedding day, their honeymoon, and kind of taking a journey through their life. And we'll have flowers and cake and celebrate them.
I love that.
So it's a way to celebrate instead of waiting for your eulogy, right?
Right,
A way to
exactly.
celebrate your life. And I had one woman said, "Oh my, I did all of that."
Well, I think a lot of us can say that, where you look back when you start looking at all these things and it's like, wow, yeah, okay, I did do a lot of stuff.
Right,
So for
right.
them, I think that's awesome.
And you learn so much, and the families will say, "Oh, you probably didn't know this. My mother was the first female whatever.
Yes.
Pilot in
Yeah.
the Air Force, or my mother did this, or just
Yep.
really interesting facts."
Yep.
So we love doing that, and it's beautiful to look at all the pictures. And you get grandkids and great grandkids
That's
that come.
great.
So
Yeah.
that's always a lot of fun.
Great idea.
So we do a lot in our memory care. I have a director. Kathy McEwen is the director. Leanne O'Connor runs all the activities and all of our CNAs, but we all run the activities
Yes,
down
right,
there.
right.
Right. And so people just get special care. They may need to be cued to use the bathroom or help with eating their foods, but They get great care. Families are welcome anytime. We do a lot of activities with families, make shadow boxes, do art projects with the families and the residents. So families are welcome 24/7.
Absolutely. And Beth, I know that you've done a lot of one more thing before we move from memory to some of your other programming. You run a support group.
Thank you. Yes.
Let's talk about
last
that.
Wednesday of every month, though in December it will be the 17th.
Yeah,
if I have it right. It's normally the last Wednesday of every month. It's from 6 to 8 o'clock. We supply a light dinner. There is no cost. Any family member, caregiver is welcome. Okay. We've been doing this for 6 years now. We get anywhere from 5 to 20. I think we've had 25 was the largest.
Yep.
It is a phenomenal group of people. I have a core group of about 8 to 8 people that come religiously for the last 5 or 6 years. And then we have newcomers. And my job is not really to talk. It's to keep the conversation going, to facilitate. I think they look at me more as a resource. People.
And I think too, when you do, when you do a support group like that, and we run a couple at the senior center as well, you sort of have that core group. But sometimes people just need to come for 3 or 4 months because there's one issue that they're dealing with, and when they
need
kind
some
of get
resources,
exactly, or
ideas.
just other people to say, oh yeah, you know what, we dealt with that with my mom,
and
this is how we handled it.
Yes.
Try that. It may or may not work with your mom, but maybe it will. So, yeah,
and it may not work this week, but 3 weeks down the road it may work because things change. So the support group is great, and we have a good time. We'll do in the summer, we do a big cookout, and then for the holidays, we will open up a bottle of champagne and celebrate a little bit. So it's a very cohesive bunch of folks, and they are welcoming to every single person that walk in the door.
Perfect. Yes, and people have asked me if we have a group like that at the senior center, and I said no, because Beth Cardillo runs one at Arms Brook. I do a lot of referrals up to that group, and I one of the things that I love about Westfield is, and I've worked really hard to try not to duplicate what's already out there. If somebody has more expertise in something than I do, or if we have more expertise in somebody else, it's like, send them to us. We'll send these people over there. We're all in the same city. So,
absolutely.
So thank you so much for that group. Which now, will they be meeting tonight? This would be the
we met last week.
You met last week. Okay, I wasn't sure how that worked.
We had to figure out everybody's schedules.
It's really hard with Thanksgiving. Most people don't want to do it the night before.
So we met last week.
And then you've also opened up some of I'll see in the Westfield News and in the reminder that you've opened, we're going to have a special entertainment thing and the public is welcome. And I know I've had seniors that have gone up to some of your programs which is nice because it gets their foot in the door. So it's like, oh, this is really nice.
And it's nice. Actually, we should talk about doing something. We can get our folks on the van and take them down to the senior center.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Okay, let's do that. I have a couple things in mind already.
Yeah, all right. That would be fun.
Okay.
Maybe we can bring the guys down, have them do pool with your guys.
Absolutely. That would be a lot of fun. All right, so we have just a few minutes left, Beth, but you have been working on a couple of different programs and committees over at Noble Hospital. So tell us about that.
So, I have to say that being a community in Westfield is not just a building where people live, because part of being a part of the community is doing things in your community and to be able to give back. And my Lord, we certainly use Noble Hospital, right? Don't we all?
We do.
So, both Tina and I are on a committee with Bay State Noble, and it's the Community Benefits Advisory Council. And the hospital gets X amount of money that they have to use to provide some services to the community. So Tina and I sit on a committee with other people in different fields, people from Westfield State, people from Hilltown Medical Center, Boys and Girls Club, the YMCA,
the health department, the city
health department, people from Bay State, from the hospital. And so it's a pretty robust group, and out of that has come a lot of other opportunities. And one of the people that sit on this committee is Justin Ayala, and he is from Bay State Perch Program. And this is so fascinating because I knew nothing about this. So Bay State is a teaching hospital, and they work with UMass Medical Center,
right.
And one of the things they do, the Perch Program, is for doctors or residents that are interested in working in rural or urban settings. And in neighborhood settings. So how are they going to get trained? And so one of the things that this program has designed is a way for these young doctors to go to places in the community to learn about what's happening in the neighborhoods.
Yep.
So, and I think, Tina, you kind of helped me with this because I think you suggested us. So we
Thought it would be
have
a great idea.
I am now part of the Bay State community faculty,
Yep.
which is really exciting. And the doctors will get a chance to come to Armbrook and learn about dementia.
Yeah.
So they will be spending time in our secure Compass Memory neighborhood. They will also spend some time in our Connected Life program because most of the people there have mild cognitive impairment, and they'll also go to our support groups.
And we're coming full circle to what we started an hour ago when you first came on, that you and Wayne are staying, you're right now temporary residents of Armbrook, and it's a very different perspective. So getting those doctors to be out in the community and into a setting like Armbrook where you can kind of immerse yourself in sort of the daily stuff of what happens on a memory support unit.
Absolutely.
Is very different than sitting in a classroom and watching a PowerPoint or looking, reading chapter 3 in your book.
Right. And they'll also go through, which I didn't even mention, is the dementia experience,
which is
amazing. Our chance to be able to show them what it may feel like to have dementia, where we alter people's senses, put them kind of a confused state and have them do some tasks. And we do that. We've been doing this for years, and it's a very eye-opening experience.
Absolutely.
So I am so super excited about this, and I think it will give doctors a chance when they meet with patients, when they're a doctor and somebody comes in and the family is talking to them about what's going on, they'll have a better sense of what dementia is.
There's no doubt about it. And and my staff, myself, the mayor, a lot of the city employees have gone through the virtual dementia experience, and everybody I think everybody came away with, just that feeling of this is insurmountable. I mean, this is just it's just so intense, and it's like 24/7. I mean, for years, it's kind of not like, okay, well, we've all had those days where we're not feeling well, we're kind of foggy, and we're not thinking clearly, but that okay, tomorrow's another day. You'll feel better in the morning, have a good night's sleep, and your head will clear.
Right.
But I think that experience of going through this thinking, oh my God, this is so intense to have to deal with this all the time, of that constant feeling of like, I'm not quite sure of what's
and what they feel. They feel lost. They feel anxious. They feel frustrated. They feel isolated.
All of the above
in 10 minutes.
Yes. Yeah. That's it. All of the above. So I think this is just a great experience.
So
for
we're
the
very,
doctors.
very excited about it, and it just gives doctors more tools to have in their toolbox of maybe being a little bit more empathetic, or maybe being able to relate to a family member better.
Yep.
So, and they do it also with little kids. They go to Square One. They go to different places in the greater Pioneer Valley and kind of learn firsthand. What a better way to learn than to get out there and get yourself to be a part of it.
Yeah. I haven't done the poverty simulation exercise yet, but I know
was
others
excellent.
have. I mean, I've done similar things, and it's the same type of thing. It's like, okay, you've got to. I did it with my college student when I was at Springfield College, and we kind of talked about, okay, here's you're on a fixed income. Here are your resources. How are you going to divide that up? And by the way, your rent just ate up 60% of your monthly income.
So to be in somebody else's shoes is pretty amazing. I really applaud Bay State. One of the things they're also looking at with me is how to get Bay State to be dementia friendly. So we're going to be working with them on that. I've done some classes with medical behavioral technicians at Bay State that will be, these are folks that sit with patients. They could be mental health patients. They could be somebody with dementia. And I did a 2-day training with them.
Perfect. Well, Beth, I want to thank you for coming in. I know we've got about 4 hours worth of stuff that we could continue to talk about, but that's okay. We can just get you in there. I want to end because it is the day before Thanksgiving. So I found this actually, the son of one of my seniors sent me an email, and it's I've titled this an inspirational Thanksgiving thought, and this is just actually part of just a quote that he sent, but I really thought it was powerful. And he said, and this is as he said, this is anonymous, so we don't know who wrote this. It wasn't me. I can't take credit. But he wrote, she wrote, Americans, like so many other people around the world, set aside one day of the year to give thanks for what they have. It is a wonderfully important commemoration. Yet that attitude of being infinitely grateful for the opportunity of being alive is something we can take time to appreciate every day of the year, not just one. Every day can be our own personal Thanksgiving. That's the real lesson for us all.
Oh, that's beautiful.
But what a nice way to end. Beth Cardillo, thank you so much for being my guest.
My pleasure.
Today.
Have a happy Thanksgiving.
Yes, have a happy Thanksgiving as well. And we will be back next week. We have a full slate. Dr. Gary Gorman will be with us because it's the first Wednesday of the month. We'll be into December by next month. And we'll have Eliana Lakritz, our resident dietitian from Bay State Noble Hospital. She's going to be talking about holiday foods and just, sort of being able to enjoy the holidays with your eating, but also staying healthy at the same time. So happy Thanksgiving, folks. We'll see you next week.
I'm nothing special. In fact, I'm a bit of a bore. If I tell a joke, you've probably heard it before. But I have a talent, a wonderful thing, 'cause everyone listens when I start to sing. I'm so grateful and proud. All I want is to sing it out loud. So I say thank you for the music, the songs I'm singing. Thanks for all the joy they're bringing. Who can live without it? I ask in all honesty. What would life be without a song or a dance? What are we? So I say thank you for the music, for giving it to me. Mother says I was a dancer before I could walk. She says I began to sing long before I could talk. And I've often wondered, how did it all start? Who found that nothing can capture a heart like a melody can? Well, whoever it was, I'm a fan. So I say thank you for the music, the songs I'm singing. Thanks for all the joy they're bringing. Who can live without it? I ask in all honesty. What would life be without a song or a dance? What are we? So I say thank you for the music, for giving it to me. I've been so lucky. I am the girl with golden hair. I wanna sing it out to everybody. What a joy, what a life, what a chance. Thank you for the music, the songs I'm singing. Thanks for all the joy they're bringing. Who can live without it? I ask in all honesty. What would life be without a song or a dance? What are we? So I say thank you for the music, for giving
Support for community radio